Good afternoon. I'm David Westrate, the Special Agent in charge of DEA's Office of Training. I wish to welcome each of you today to the graduation ceremony for the Drug Enforcement Administration's class number 105. Would you please stand for the presentation of colors and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation by the Chaplain Lieutenant Robert L. Bankin, United States Naval Reserves.
Let us pray. God of life, source of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, courage, and strength. Bless the graduates of this DEA class in all the care and training they have received. Bless their instructors, their counselors, and all the supporting staff here at the FBI Academy and in the Drug Enforcement Administration. Be with us, Lord, and inspire us to keep fit and strong in mind, body, and spirit. Lord, grant each of us a deep respect for human life and keep us safe as we work to make our world better and safer. Lord, bless us in the love of our families and friends, and help us to support and encourage one another in daily living and in daily work. Amen.
Please be seated. Special thanks to Chaplain Bankin, the Fairfax Brass Quintet, and the United States Marine Color Guard for their support and fine work this morning. I now have the pleasure of introducing to you the individuals present on the stage today. In the first row to my immediate left is Thomas A. Constantine, the Administrator of DEA. To the Administrator's left is Chaplain Bankin, United States Naval Reserves. To his left is Christopher Nielsen, the Student Representative for Basic Agent Class 105. Next to Christopher is Stephen H. Green, the Deputy Administrator of DEA. And to Steve's left is Gene Mathis, the Assistant Administrator of the Human Resources Division. In the second row, again to my immediate left is Stephen Churchill, who is the Unit Chief of the Academic Unit here at the Office of Training. To Steve's left is George Tom, who is the class coordinator for this class. To George's left is Aaron Hatcher, who is the acting assistant administrator for the Operational Support Division of DEA. To Aaron's left is William Simpkins, who is the Acting Chief Inspector of the Inspection Division. And to Bill's left is Craig Chrétien, the Acting Chief of the Operations Division. I also would like to make a special introduction of a very good friend of mine and DEA who is present here in the auditorium with us today. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Jeff Higginbotham, who is the FBI Deputy Assistant Director in charge of this entire Academy complex. Jeff, would you stand, please? Jeff, I thank you once again for your continued support of our program here. There are 4 individuals who were primarily responsible for guiding and coordinating this class through all phases of its activity. I would like to take the opportunity now to introduce and acknowledge them. Our 4 counselors who also traveled here, leaving behind their families and enforcement activities to assist and serve as field counselors are, first, Special Agent Pamela Mirsky from the Boston Field Division. Pamela. Special Agent Art Vogel from the Des Moines Resident Office. Art. Special Agent Bradford Watson from the Waco Post of Duty Office. And finally, Special Agent Craig Williams from the Honolulu District Office. Craig. I want to thank all of you for your hard work and your fine effort here. At this time, Mr. Constantine will present 4 very special class awards. The first award is the Academic Achievement Award. This award for scholastic excellence is presented to the student who maintains the highest academic average in such areas as drug identification, legal training, report writing, and general procedures over the course of the 16-week basic agent training program. This award is presented to Special Agent James Bond, who achieved an overall average of 98.88%. Special Agent Bond received his Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineering from California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo, California. He is currently assigned to the Reno Resident Office. The second award is for firearms proficiency. This award is presented to the student who has demonstrated the highest degree of proficiency in all phases of firearms training, including stress and decision firing, night firing, and shoulder weapons. The Firearms Proficiency Award is presented to Special Agent John Aldean. Special Agent Aldean received his Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice from Sacramento State University in Sacramento, California. He is currently assigned to the Milwaukee Resident Office. The third award is for physical achievement. This award is presented to the student who has demonstrated the highest degree of proficiency in all aspects of the physical training program. The Physical Achievement Award is presented to Special Agent Daniel Schmidt, who achieved a score of 47 points in the final test. Special Agent Schmidt received his Bachelor of Science degree in Criminology from Indiana State University in Terre Haute, Indiana. Special Agent Schmidt is currently assigned to the Maryville Resident Office. The fourth award goes to the Outstanding Student in Basic Agent Class 105. The Outstanding Student Award is based on academic achievement, physical ability, firearms proficiency, performance in field training exercises, enthusiasm, and teamwork and is presented to the student who achieves the highest overall rating in these areas during the 16 weeks training here at Quantico. This announcement is the first indication to the class of the student selected for this award. The person receiving this award has the option of choosing his or her first field division assignment. Ladies and gentlemen, the Outstanding Student Award is presented to Special Agent Daniel Schmidt. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, Class Coordinator George Tom will introduce the Basic Agent Class 105 class representative. As coordinator of this class, Mr. Tom is directly responsible for the performance of the class and the quality of the program. Mr. Tom is a 12-year veteran of the DEA. George.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at this time I have the privilege of introducing to you the BA 105 class representative. During the 8th week of training, I asked the class to select a member to represent them at this graduation ceremony. It is my pleasure to introduce you to this outstanding person. They chose Special Agent Christopher Nielsen. Christopher Agent Nielsen received his Bachelor's of Arts degree in Political Science from University of Colorado in Boulder, Colorado. Special Agent Nielsen is currently assigned to the Fresno, California office.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. Good afternoon, Mr. Constantine, distinguished guests, Academy staff, ladies and gentlemen. As Mr. Tom mentioned, I was chosen by my classmates to address you today on behalf of BA 105. It is an honor and a privilege to represent such a fine group of men and women. The agents of Class 105 would like to extend a warm welcome and a heartfelt thank you to all of you for joining us here today, especially those of you who traveled great distances to be here. This day belongs not only to the new agents, but more importantly to those of you who supported us during this challenging period of our lives. 17 weeks ago, a group of 50 individuals arrived here at the Academy, not quite knowing what to expect. All of us were anxious and a bit nervous about the training we were beginning. We were surprised to have received such a professional and warm welcome from the students of BA 104. They started us off on the right foot, and there's been no looking back since that day in May. Although they are not here, I feel I would be remiss not to thank BA 104. Now, to help you understand the type of people that DEA is currently hiring, I'll give you some demographic information about our class. Our graduating class is comprised of 46 college-educated men and women from 17 different states. We range in ages from 24 to 37, with an average age of 29. Our class has several people with law enforcement backgrounds from federal, state, and local agencies. We also have 12 students with military backgrounds representing all branches of the armed forces. 5 students in BA 105 have advanced degrees, and we even have an ex-kindergarten teacher and a psychotherapist in the group. But even with this wealth of diverse experience, this group of individuals soon realized that we would have to pull together as a team to successfully negotiate the hurdles presented to us by the training staff. I'm proud to say that BA 105 truly has come together as a team. Every success, or for that matter failure, we experienced it together as a team. Out of this team has grown a multitude of friendships that'll last us the rest of our lives. If you don't believe me, just ask Chris Woolbright and John Jellum, who agreed to take the Yuma, Arizona and Anchorage, Alaska slots. Chris and John, I'm sure there's probably some spouses and family members in the audience who might like to thank you personally after the ceremony. For the new agents here, this job is a dream come true. As I'm sure most of the families are aware, DEA's application process is a particularly agonizing one. Most of us began this adventure many years ago. On average, the students in BA 105 have waited over 3 years to be hired on as DEA special agents. Well, the day has finally arrived that we are no longer basic agent trainees, but rather special agents of the Drug Enforcement Administration. BA 105 comes before you today as a highly trained and professional team. We owe this to a number of people that I would like to mention today. First, as a matter of fact, I'd like to thank our class coordinator, Mr. Tom, for his continued mentorship throughout our training. He served the needs of the students and did look out for our well-being. Thanks, Mr. Tom, for always treating us fairly and with sincere respect. We can't thank the class counselors enough. Not only have they been a wealth of knowledge, but they too have sacrificed 17 weeks away from their families, just like the rest of us here. To Ms. Mirsky, who always showed up and participated in our PT sessions, good luck with your upcoming wedding. We wish you and your fiancé all the best. Based on the size of that diamond engagement ring on your hand, we know you'll be in good hands. To Mr. Vogel, who does this job because he truly does love his work. Chip McBrayer would like to apologize formally for throwing you into the air conditioner that day during raids. I'm sure that scar on your forehead will go away soon. To Mr. Williams, thanks for all your quality firearms instruction. There are some folks in this class who might not be here today had it not been for the numerous hours of additional training that you provided. Thank you, sir. And to Mr. Watson and his self-proclaimed gift of gab. We thank you for all the stories, advice, professional development, and just plain hanging out. Now, thanks should also go out to the practical unit and our primary instructors, Special Agents Worrell and McMillan. These men were responsible for teaching us the valuable skills of surveillance and undercover techniques. They put in countless hours to ensure that our practical exercises were realistic and successful learning experiences. And I'd like to be able to tell the spouses and families that this is not a dangerous job that we are beginning. But I can't do that because at times this can be a dangerous profession. I can say confidently, however, that the training we received from the practical unit was outstanding in every way, and the staff has taught us how to do our jobs as safely as possible so that we will go home to our families every night. I can't forget the firearms staff, but I'll keep it short, for they said it best. We got a lot of things to do and not a lot of time to do it. Bay 4, we can't say enough good things about Mr. Avery. Thanks very much, guys. Lastly, we'd like to thank Mr. Danino and the entire defensive tactics staff. They pushed us to the limit both physically and mentally and were there with us the entire way, leading from the front. Not only did they get us in great shape, but they also taught us how to fight and win on the streets. Mr. Danino, our class voted you our top instructor. You taught us to believe in ourselves, and you were sincere about helping us to become the best agents possible. Sir, we won't let you down. Now, as most of you know, we've been pretty busy here the past 17 weeks. And I know there's some others out there that are wondering why Johnny or Jane didn't write home more often. Maybe you're even a little irate that we didn't take more time to communicate with our loved ones. Well, I found an anonymous letter in the classroom yesterday, and I'd like to take this opportunity to share some of it with you. It begins, Dear Mom, summer camp has been really fun. I learned a lot of neat things, but I think it's time to come home now. Although I didn't get a chance to write home too often, I did improve my written communication skills. Maybe it was all the memos I had to write for the camp counselors every time I did something wrong. My friend Doug Treasurer wrote 5 memos in one day for a firearms instructor, Mr. Avery. Doug may not know how to shoot, but he now writes like Shakespeare. Treasurer, that's a memo. Speaking of range training, some of us even got to do some indoor pistol practice. John Quickdraw O'Connor, is the first and only member of the DEA Blue Handle Impossible Club. One shot, one memo. You and Dad mentioned all the neat things I'd get to do here at Club Quantico, like horseback riding and nature hikes. Well, they must have changed the program a little bit since you read the brochure. We never rode on horseback, but we did have this guy, Danino, riding us the entire time we've been here. He's our defensive tactics and physical training instructor, who not only talks the talk, but more importantly, walks the walk. Thanks to Kurt Nelson, we got to sing a lot of songs during PT. And I'm happy to report that I now know my right foot from my left foot, the good foot. Mr. D, can we go home now? Our class was the first to accomplish many things. Not as many as Dan Schmidt, mind you. But some of them are worth mentioning here. The class competed in a 10-mile foot race on a Sunday in Fredericksburg, where everyone finished together. Well, almost everyone. One of us slept in and just missed the bus by a couple seconds. The old man in the group, Tom Murphy, did successfully complete the 10-mile run, a little more gracefully than the one during our first workout. Hey, Murph, is it true they named that new telephone by the track the Murphy Close Call 911 Memorial Phone? Chris Hoffman was the first person ever to attempt a quick exit arrest from a vehicle while wearing a bulletproof vest over his secured seatbelt. Ouch. And Eric Katz is probably the only person that could illustrate and publish his own comic strip while still maintaining passing grades in all academic areas. And on a more romantic note, the class even had 3 wedding engagements during our time here. Funny what a little time apart will do for a relationship. Congratulations to those lucky couples. Well, Mom, I better go. Big day tomorrow. We're testifying for our jobs in moot court up at headquarters. See you soon. Signed from a student in 105. Before I step down, I must mention one more group, and that's my classmates in BA 105. Or better said, my friends in BA 105. You made the time here a bit more bearable, and for that, I thank each and every one of you. Each of you will be outstanding special agents, and I'm proud to say that I'd go through a door with any one of you. I look forward to us working together in the future. Let's stay in touch. Thank you very much.
Well spoken, Chris. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the Administrator of the Drug Enforcement Administration. Thomas A. Constantine was appointed Administrator of Drug Enforcement by President Bill Clinton on March 11, 1994. When selected by President Clinton, he had been serving as the Superintendent of the New York State Police. Mr. Constantine was the first Superintendent of the New York State Police in over 30 years to rise through the ranks, being appointed the 10th Superintendent by Governor Mario Cuomo in December of 1986. As Superintendent, he oversaw a statewide law enforcement agency composed of nearly 4,800 uniformed and investigative members and civilian support personnel. He began his law enforcement career in 1960 as a deputy with the Erie County Sheriff's Department. In 1962, he entered the New York State Police as a uniformed trooper. In addition to receiving numerous awards for his contributions to his profession, Mr. Constantine was elected and served on the Board of Officers for the International Association of Chiefs of Police from October of 1992 to April of 1994. He is currently serving as a member of the ICP Executive Committee and is chairman of the ICP Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs Committee. A native of Buffalo, New York, he holds a bachelor's degree from the State University College at Buffalo and received his master's degree from the State University of New York at Albany, where he was selected as the outstanding graduate student in 1986. He also has completed academic work in the doctoral program. Mr. Constantine is married to the former Ruth Cryan and has 6 children and 9 grandchildren. Mr. Administrator.
It's kind of interesting as you evaluate people earlier in their career and see what potential they have and their ability to pick up on cues and to follow instructions. I told Chris in the hall before I come up, I said, Chris, don't make this too good a speech. And I told Dan, I says, what office is he selecting of choice? Now, he'd been in my office and seen all the memorabilia from Buffalo. I thought he would pick up on that quickly. He obviously hasn't, so Dave, that human anchorage switch may have to occur sometime this afternoon. Let me, as I begin here, talk about you and talk a little bit about your family, because the reason that you're here at this stage of your life in many ways is because you've had a role model or a mentor of some type. In most cases, it's your mom or your dad or a teacher or a high school coach or somebody in the clergy that's had an effect on your life. You eventually live, in many ways, the style of life that you live as a result of that experience. As you come here to the academy, coming in as an agent, like everybody else who begins this career, there's a great deal of anxiety. You have a sense of what the DEA is all about, but you don't know what your role is going to be like, or how you will perform it, or how will this career progress over the years. You start to pick up models from counselors and staff, and then eventually you will form your own personality. You have an opportunity today that's somewhat unique. I'm going to point out someone for you as a role model that I think it would be worth following. Today is the last graduation for Steve Green, our Deputy Administrator. Let me talk to you a little bit about a career in public service. Uniquely, his dad and himself, both presidential appointees to head law enforcement agencies, the likelihood of that happening in one family is infinitesimal. As a young man wounded and decorated in Vietnam, comes back and joins public service in the DEA, works his way up from your position as a basic agent to be a presidential appointee and a deputy administrator of the Drug Enforcement Administration. In addition, during a transition, he ran DEA for 6 months in a very challenging period. In fact, he may say, in the confidence of his office, he's been running it for the last 3 years, but I may have a little bit of a difference with him on that. Probably, from my experience, one of the brighter, if not brightest people that I have ever been around. Certainly a man of, he's going to kill me for what I'm doing right now, I know that, but a man of very sincere emotion and a very great depth. And I would like you as a group to just recognize him shortly before we continue and finish up. Steve, would you please stand up? Pay for this. Today is really your day to be very proud of what you've done, and I'd like to welcome you and really your family members who are here today. I mean, this is very special for us. And the support and sacrifice over these past months, I know from personal experience, has not been easy. And I'm sure the graduates would be the first to acknowledge their loved ones as playing the most important role in fulfilling their dream to become an agent with DEA. And I would like to thank you personally for the patience and understanding during the time that someone very important to your family has been here for that 16 or 17 weeks. One thing that you know now, and you will find out even more in the future, you've chosen a life in public service. And the demands on not only the agent but the family are going to be different from that of your neighbors and your friends. But there's more than demands, there's great rewards attached to this occupation. Because you will be so proud of what these individuals have done in making life better for all of us. This day marks the successful end for you, as Chris said, of a grueling test to prove yourself worthy of memberships in this outstanding agency. During the past several months, you've been tested in many ways, physically and mentally, which really measures your commitment to be an agent with DEA. You have already embraced the principles of hard work and sacrifice. You rise at the break of day to hit the track, rain or shine. And those of us from the northeast quadrant of the country recognize that this humidity and temperature here in the summertime is sometimes difficult to deal with. Despite the aching muscles and exhaustion and some disappointments that I'm sure you have had from time to time at the range or Hogan's Alley, you have persevered, and not only persevered, but you have been successful. You have at this stage passed all of our tests: endurance, physical stamina, mental agility, integrity, and honor. And if you were to ask your family, who have a good perspective on this, you have changed a great deal in the past 16 weeks. You're stronger, you're more confident. And as you looked around at that room full of strangers on that opening day, I'm sure you said, "My God, what have I gotten myself into?" But today, these are not strangers. These are friends. And what you will find is there will be bonds of loyalty and friendship that have been developed here this summer that are going to last you for the rest of your lives, even past your retirement from DEA. You are now part of a family of professionals, and you will again endure long hours and long days, and not for great reward. However, inside each of you is a belief that what you do is worthwhile. We know that in order for freedom to survive, somebody has to step forward to make our communities safe again. This is a special team. I look at it somewhat different from your perspective. I look at it in many ways as a newcomer to DEA, but equally impressed with the role that we have in society. You're going to be surrounded here and in the future with a sense of tradition, and you will build upon that tradition. You will follow many of those who have went before you, like Steve and others, who've contributed to some of the world's most significant narcotics law enforcement. But the successes of the past, one, don't eliminate the problems of the future. And if history's any predictor, you will be more skilled, more sophisticated, and more successful than we ever dreamed of being. The drug use and violence rising among teenagers is a concern to those of us who have chosen this profession. Many of the social problems that I see in our country today, domestic violence, child abuse, AIDS, homelessness, are in many ways connected to drug abuse. International drug traffickers have now set up operations in some of the smallest communities in America, and they continue to flood this country with illegal drugs. The success or failure of our efforts against these evils will depend on how well we work with law enforcement partners, village police, town police, county sheriffs, state troopers, FBI agents, city detectives. We are all in this together because the adversary is so overwhelming. We do know that these groups are not invincible. We've shown them again and again that we are capable of finding them, producing evidence, and arresting them. Families, I sure, have sat home and talked about the pride that they have in these graduates. People wonder what motivates them to pursue a career in law enforcement. I can tell you, as you heard, and from where I started in life with 6 children, material wealth was not anything that was on the horizon until much later in my career. And it certainly wasn't the hours. I mean, in looking back, I started working a 60-hour work week and somehow have not been able to get out of that. So money and time has not been that which was the goal. I think it's a motivation to serve others. There's a belief somewhere that you can make a vision of a better America a reality. The world was not always this way and can again return, I think, to something better. There has to become a place where children like that young voice that you hear right now can play in parks that are safe and drug-free. It's a community where people like your parents or grandparents should not be held prisoners in their own homes by fear of drug gangs. It's a country that must nourish the young people with positive attitudes, teach them importance of taking responsibility for their own actions. There's a survey that came out this week that received a great deal of publicity. And when you look at it, it's almost as if, why did we have to spend all of this money for a survey and to make this public? It simply said, where the family has stayed together, where the family spends time with the children, where limitations are set for children, where spiritual beliefs play an important role in that family, the child is not likely to become involved in the utilization of drugs. Where the family is not intact, where the family does not care about the child, when there are no limitations and no spirituality, the child often strays into drug abuse. Hardly a shock to those who have watched this occur in America. But when we talk about solving the problem, it depends on people like yourselves who care enough to teach children that drugs are a dead end and to provide positive leadership and opportunities for them to grow. You now change from merely being an employee of a governmental agency. Wherever you live, wherever you go socially, whatever activity that you become involved in, you will be a role model for people to look up to. So the answer lies in people like you to change what is a problem of today. This career will demand much of you. There will be many times when you will be disappointed, frustrated, and discouraged. I told somebody as we were waiting upstairs, this anniversary of today means something to me. 25 years ago today, as a young investigator about to become lieutenant, I had just finished duty on an assault team at Attica Prison and was now doing crime scenes on the 42 people who had been killed there, probably the darkest hour of my law enforcement career. But when nothing seems to go right, the idea is to set your sights on something higher, something that can be improved. And you always have to remember that because you serve the public, you're going to be held, rightfully so, I think, to a higher standard of conduct. And here at Quantico, you may notice that we have emphasized integrity. We have emphasized strong moral character, and we have emphasized the highest ethical conduct. I assure you, we believe in that, and we will hold that standard consistently, because the oath that you are about to take is an unconditional oath. It's not conditioned upon money. It's not conditioned upon weakness. It is an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And if you go to the headquarters at DEA or the headquarters of any police department that you visit in your career, you're going to see that this legacy was not earned cheaply. It's been earned at great sacrifice, often human life. The counselors, I always have a special place in my heart, having been at one point in time in the mid-'60s a counselor and away from my own young family, but I know that it was one of the more rewarding occupations that I've had. George, you and the counselors, I think, have done a wonderful job. I am not as equipped as would be Steve Green or Dave Westrate or the other executives of DEA to compare past and present or future, although I rely on their judgment. And their judgment is consistent in that the finest young people in America today are coming into DEA, and the training program is making them even better. So in a few moments, the legacy passes. Steve Green retires, you become sworn in. Now it's your responsibility to uphold that great tradition, and from what I've seen and what I have observed and what I've been told, we are being served well by your commitment to this country. I want to thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Constantine, as a special agent in charge of the Office of Training for the Drug Enforcement Administration, I proudly certify to you that members of Basic Agent Class 105 here present have satisfactorily completed all of the requirements for graduation and have earned the right to be recognized as special agents of the Drug Enforcement Administration. And I now respectfully request that you administer to them their oath of office.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Thank you. Please be seated.
Will the class please assemble for the presentation of badges and credentials? The names of the graduates will be read by Stephen Churchill, Unit Chief of the Academic Unit. Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please hold your applause until all special agents have received their badges and credentials? Special Agent John Aldine, Milwaukee. Special Agent Jim Bond, Reno. Special Agent Francis Bedoya, New Orleans. Special Agent Joseph Begley, Detroit. Special Agent George Bruner, McAllen. Special Agent Timothy Cahill, Des Moines. Special Agent Stephen Carnathan, San Jose. Special Agent Robert Cash, New York. Special Agent Michael Klein, New York. Special Agent Patricia Early, Dallas. Special Agent Robert Felicioni, West Palm Beach. Special Agent Jesus Gomez, Brownsville. In keeping with DEA tradition, former Special Agent Oliver P. Garza, Deputy Chief, U.S. Embassy, Bogota, present the badge and credentials to his son, Special Agent John Garza, Los Angeles. Special Agent Brendan Gillen, Toledo. Special Agent John Jellum, Anchorage. Special Agent Stephen Gonzalez, Reno. Special Agent Christopher Hoffman, Washington. Special Agent Brian Hoffman, Charleston. Special Agent Philip Jacobs, St. Louis. Special Agent Eric Katz, Tulsa. Special Agent Cinda Lutz, Los Angeles. Special Agent Robert Masters, Miami. Special Agent Homer McBrayer, Jr., Miami. Special Agent Mark Maheu, Saginaw. Special Agent John Meade, Honolulu. Special Agent Thomas Murphy, Jr., Springfield. Special Agent Christopher Nielsen, Fresno. Special Agent Curtis Nelson, Las Cruces. Special Agent John O'Connor, Burlington. Special Agent Carlos Perez, San Diego. Special Agent Marco Perez, Newark. Special Agent Victoria Peterson, Key Largo. Special Agent Michael Polsky, San Diego. Special Agent Michael Perlusky, Salt Lake City. Special Agent Roddy Rape, New York. Special Agent Aaron Rady, Las Vegas. Special Agent Neil Rubin, New York. Special Agent Daniel Schmidt, Maryville. Special Agent Miriam Shields, New Orleans. Special Agent Mark Samala, St. Louis. Special Agent Charles Sowell, Miami. Special Agent Douglas Treasurer, Newark. Special Agent Robert John Wolbach, Long Island. In keeping with DEA tradition, Supervisory Special Agent William Wolf, Chief of Chemical Operations, will present the badge and credentials to his daughter, Special Agent Susan Wolf, San Diego. Special Agent Chris Woolbright, Yuma. Special Agent Anthony Zavacki, Los Angeles.
Let's have one more round of applause for these new special agents. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the stage party will retire to the auditorium and we will present a video that we have produced. This video will highlight the nature of DEA's mission, the nature of our training program, and the highlights of our graduating class.
Training. For the Drug Enforcement Administration, it's serious business. Deliberately demanding, deliberately difficult, deliberately intense. It can be no other way, because the environment DEA recruits will inhabit, the world they will work in, is itself demanding, difficult, and intense. When successful DEA recruits complete their training, when they become DEA special agents, they are not only prepared to function effectively in that world, they're prepared to take their place in a long, proud, and honorable tradition of federal drug law enforcement that began in 1915 as an element of the Internal Revenue Service. In the following decades, several federal agencies had drug law enforcement responsibilities. Then, in 1973, all federal anti-drug forces were combined under a single unified command, and the Drug Enforcement Administration was established. The objective? To organize the available resources for more efficient and effective use. DEA has been the lead agency in the fight against illegal drugs ever since. This dynamic agency is made up of 20 field divisions, the El Paso Intelligence Center, training, 6 district offices, over 110 resident offices, and over 70 offices in 49 countries.
The biggest heroin bust in this country ever. More than a half a ton seized in California after a long surveillance.
Drugs are in the news today, illegal drugs. Authorities in Washington and Rome claim that they have dealt a crippling blow to the Colombian cartels that control most of the world's cocaine. Police officials say that a 2-year operation called Green Ice has resulted in more than 200 arrests, some of them very important, in 4 countries, including Italy and the U.S.
Preventing the diversion of legal drugs and the chemicals used to process them from getting into the illegal trafficking environment is also DEA's responsibility. Ever since the fight against illegal drugs began, DEA has been training its recruits to engage in that fight proficiently, safely, and successfully. The quality of the training DEA provides has not escaped the notice of the rest of the world. For over a quarter century, the administration's International Training Section, working with the State Department's Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement, has been training police officers from countries all over the globe. Important as that is, however, little is more vital than DEA's extraordinary efforts to train its own personnel, to prepare them fully as possible to do a job that the word important barely does justice to. The FBI Academy is self-contained and perfectly suited for this task.
The job we train our recruits to do is difficult. Those who make it through are ready. They've proven that they are prepared to handle the task. That's what our training is all about. Finding out who's got what it takes to be a special agent and preparing them to function and win in an increasingly harsh environment. Training does not stop upon graduation. Upon completion of basic agent training and assignment to the first duty station, new special agents are assigned to work with a proven senior agent who for the next 26 weeks will guide and monitor them through the transition to actual field investigative work.
105 is coming on by! 105 is coming on by!
The training changes people. It's designed to change them.
Get off your stomachs!
When I first arrived here, I was mostly impressed with the teamwork, the fact that we were welcomed by the class ahead of us, the fact that everybody came in pretty wired, pretty scared, and they were welcomed right away, and it helped comfort everybody, brought everybody together as a team fairly fast.
Recruits come to Quantico, and 4 months later, the successful ones have evolved into DEA special agents, ready to take on the extraordinary challenges that come along with the title. Those 4 months shape those who experience them. They are grueling, testing, and memorable.
My name is Miriam Shields. I'm from Cocoa, Florida.
My name is Daniel Schmidt. I was hired out of the San Diego Field Division.
I'm Patricia Early. I'm from Houston, Texas.
John O'Connor from Buffalo, New York.
Today we were doing our final practice PT session prior to our PT midterm test, and we were going through some exercises and drills as far as defensive tactics and self-defense and a little grappling with our classmates. Get us mentally and physically prepped for the challenges ahead. I've been mostly impressed with the physical and mental challenges that they have provided us. Our bodies have been built by Mr. Danino, who's taken us to the highest level we could physically, and mentally we've been challenged by the raids and the stress levels and everything they've built upon us.
The most challenging part of the training here so far has been the PT. I came here, I thought it was in pretty good shape, and then I met Mr. Danino, and he kind of put me in perspective there.
The fact that we're going to be sprayed with pepper spray is exciting to most of us. I think that it's going to be good for people to realize what they're going to be up against, so when they taste that for the first time, they'll understand what they're doing to someone else. Stand back a little bit.
Today we're in M204 training class. We're going to receive about 48 hours of computer training while we're here at the Academy. Today in particular we're learning the NATIS computer system. NATIS is very important for us to know because it allows us to identify other agents within DEA who may be working on the same investigation that we are. It allows us to coordinate our investigations with other DEA offices.
Today we're doing presumptive drug testing. We're trying to get indicators of controlled substances. This is something that we'll be doing when we're out in the field, and we quickly need to identify drugs as in fact being drugs and not counterfeit substances.
It's very important from the start of the case, from the indictment right down to the trial phase, to have all your details in order, because that can make or break a case. Make sure everybody who's participated in the case is online together. You have to have it on paper, because if it isn't on paper, as far as the DEA is concerned, it doesn't exist.
FBI and DEA students, if you prefer, you may turn your ball caps around.
Today we're conducting joint firearms training with the FBI. We realized in a few short weeks that we were going to be out there in the field actually conducting joint operations with other federal, state, and local agencies. We hope that today's training will give us the opportunity to see what another agency trains like, to see their culture, and to see the philosophy behind that training. We also hope that in the future this sort of training and combined operations will give us an opportunity to build on our friendships and the professional relationships that we'll be needing throughout our careers.
I'm Ted Solzbach, an agent going through training here at the Academy. And previously, in some previous experiences I've had, I've worked in joint ops in Central America with the DEA, and I know that coordinating that effort and understanding each other is of the utmost importance. The only one who wins from any kind of disconnect between the organizations are the bad guys, and we're definitely brothers in the same war. So therefore, training here at Quantico in a joint environment, because that's what the ops are going to be in the future, those joint task force, is extremely imperative. And a springboard here at the Quantico where we get to work and shoot alongside and study alongside DEA agents, hopefully in the future is going to lead to continued liaison between us and our DEA counterparts. And I really hope that I run across some of the people that I know from here as I continue my career.
The most challenging so far has been just to establish a good mental mindset. We're going in, today is a great example of that. We're doing some raid training. We're using a modified snake technique, and what we're doing is we're going in to arrest some bad guys who are in their home environment. They're armed. All our academic, our physical, our practical training comes together into something like this, and we just need to be at a good mental mindset and good focus in order to do our jobs and come away safely.
Most challenging part of training here for me so far is learning how to use discretion as a federal agent. There's a lot of power afforded us in our job, and we have to learn how to use it sparingly and make good judgment calls in dangerous situations.
Today we are doing compliant and non-compliant traffic stop scenarios. There are several types of stops that we utilize. And, of course, each situation will be different. Today we're practicing on compliant and non-compliant stops.
Today we're going to be doing field training exercise number 2, which involves a Title III wiretap investigation as well as surveillance of a multi-ounce heroin dealer. What we'll be utilizing is both surveillance in the field as well as monitors in the wire room to attempt to obtain probable cause on these suspect dealers. If probable cause is obtained, we will possibly be executing search warrants as well as buy-bust operations at the end of the exercise.
What's impressed me most about the training here is the thoroughness of it. They're very serious about this job here, and they make sure that when we leave here, we know what we're doing, both to protect ourselves and the community.
I've done a lot of training with the Army, and it doesn't compare to the training that I've received here at the Academy.
I think the law studies have been most challenging. We receive over 60 hours of law classes. Today in legal class we're covering searches and seizures, the laws that allow us to search, the laws that we have to be able to articulate in court when we're trying to prosecute the criminals that we've completed the investigations on. At the end of our academy training, we'll have a week of moot court that brings together everything that we've been doing and learning through our practicals and through law class, teaching us how to present ourselves, how to present our case under a lot of pressure with the defense attorneys.
My name is Mark Samala, and I'm a proud member of BA 105. On May the 28th, 1996, I made a marriage proposal to my soon-to-be wife, Joanne, here on the Academy grounds. Joanne said yes, and on September the 28th, 1996, she'll make me the luckiest and happiest man alive when we exchange marriage vows.
As coordinator for Basic Agent Class 105, I congratulate each of you for successfully completing 16 weeks of training here at the Academy. You have persevered under trying circumstances and have excelled in one of the most comprehensive training programs in all of law enforcement. Basic Agent Class 105, hold your heads high because you have truly earned the title of Special Agent for the Drug Enforcement Administration.